Okay, so at the end of the previous session, we had cleared out sort of all the bad guys and caught our breath. We decided as a group coming into last session that we needed to explore the cave and the tent, the sort of little makeshift temple thing that they had set up. My character tried his hardest to go separate from everybody else to explore the monument because he was trying to have a religious moment with his god, and nobody wanted to let him have a private religious moment with his god. So he finally just said, fuck it, let's do this. Because he would rather be happy than right any day, and nobody was going to just agree with letting him do it on his own, no matter how much he was trying to. And out of game, that was frustrating for me, but in game it worked out. We went down inside, we found a cave filled with corpses of food, likely food for the Chimera. Potentially, as far as we know now, the other things we've discovered, it might even have been sacrifices from the cult of the dragon that was here. But inside there was a pillar with a bust of Tiamat on it, and we thought, we'll deal with this in a minute. Went back out, grabbed Gilwyn, who was the only one that had gone really into the temple area because we figured he could support himself. So, which cracks me up, actually, now that I think about it out of game, because nobody wanted Felix to go alone, but they let Gilwyn go alone. But
Gilwyn doesn't usually get himself into shenanigans.
Well, I think what we decided is that Gilwyn had the ability to summon back up if he needed it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. Because I could pop off, summon woodland creatures or whatever.
As opposed to me, who has a 23-page spell list, but whatever.
Right.
Which I did not know I had a 23-page spell list until today. So, that is an interesting thing. Anyways, so
your slots.
What's that?
You got rid of all your slots.
I got rid of all my bonus slots. I still have my regular slots and access to 23 pages of spells. And at 23 pages, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 23 pages at approximately 15 pages spells per page. So well over 100 spells that I can access at any given time, as long as I have spell slots. Or sorcery points to create spell slots. Anyways, that's, here and there. After grabbing the book, I was like, all right, we'll figure this out in a minute. Gilwyn explained that he kind of wandered through their little ritual area. There was a ritual circle in there. It looked like there was potentially some dangerous stuff going on. And he found the journal of Arkan the Cruel in there, explaining the situation. And we're like, okay, well, we'll deal with this in a minute. We went back down into the cave. While we were in the cave, we found what would be the equivalent of, I feel like it was a horde, but it wasn't a typical dragon's horde. It was more like donations, or a, what do you call them? When they pass the plate around the church.
Tithes.
Tithes. It was more like a horde made of tithes to the monument of Tiamat. Inside there were a couple of, there was, a folding boat and stuff like that found. On top of that, we used the space that was basically created for us, safe and ritualistically, to turn out a few magic items that would help our characters, because we had the power to do so. So, with newfound access to bags of holding, we collected stuff we may or may not have wanted, and I used the opportunity to snatch the bust of Tiamat off of the plinth and dimension door it into my bag of holding. As it popped off, click, chink, 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 chink. A wall sort of folds open, or opening comes open in the back wall, and a little baby chimera was in there, calling out for its parent. I don't remember, DM. Was it calling out in a common language, or was it crying animalistically? Because I vaguely remember you saying it was calling out, but I don't remember what type of noise it was making.
I never said specifically what language it was speaking, but I'm going to go ahead and say that it was infernal.
Infernal, which I
think all of you have access to it.
A couple others do, yeah.
Sure.
You'd have to look for me because I'm computer Drullus at the moment.
Right.
For everybody else, if you don't want to look for it on your character sheet, you can just click the arrow in chat and roll down your scroll list. And like my character knows Common, Elvish, Infernal, and Corndoggish.
Corndoggish.
Infernal is on Fix list.
Awesome.
Gilwin and Druzzl, do you guys have Infernal?
Yes. I have Abyssal, Common, Druidic, Elvish, Infernal, and Sylvan.
Nice. Druzzl?
Yes, I have Infernal.
So yeah, we all realized it was calling out for its parent. We took the time to consider if we felt like the parent was going to come back. The parent did not leave on bad terms. Didn't necessarily leave on good terms either. We had fought its parent Chimera, but when we got it to leave, I remember rolling really well to convince it we weren't its enemy. So
I remember that too.
Yeah, I remember. I think we actually knocked it unconscious and then woke it back up. I don't necessarily remember if that's true, but I know we beat the crap out of it while it was trying to fight us, and then went, "Stop it! We're not trying to fight you." So, we convinced it, much like the other ones, to flee. Felix will not abandon this baby here. I've thought about it long and hard. I've thought, this is a monster. Would Felix kill it off? I've thought all of this in regards to it. The fact is, not only is this a shrine of Tiamat, and it's already seen a crap ton of death, the fact is this is a Chimera baby that is the child of the guardian of this shrine. Killing its baby may be sacrilegious to my character. Now, I get that this is a shrine to the chaos god Tiamat, not my character's rendition of Tiamat. But therein is the rub. My character's version of Tiamat is Tiamat the mother. I'm not gonna kill a kid in what I would consider a shrine I wish to repurpose to the mother.
Did
Like
we
that.
just adopt the Chimera?
No, because we checked last time. We know its parent is coming back for it. We in game, I feel like Thick might be like, "Are we about to adopt this?" I'm gonna ask that. Is that an in-game question for you?
Yeah, actually, I'll go ahead and make it in game. It wasn't originally, but it is now.
Then Felix would turn to you and like put his hand up and be like, "No, look, we're pretty sure. Hey, lad, no, we're pretty sure its old mom or dad will be back, but until it does, I do not think we can abandon it, and I do not think that means we can leave this place quite yet."
I pull out a ball and I throw it so the Chimera can go chase it like a dog.
They are intelligent.
Normally they're barely more intelligent than an intelligent animal. The chimeras here speaking multiple languages and stuff like that is showing that it's not to say they can't be intelligent. I've definitely, even as a DM, played them as the occasional intelligent one. I love intelligent chimeras. But normally a chimera has like the rage of a red dragon backed into the ferocity of a lion and the stubbornness of a goat, and that just makes it an angry animal.
I'm going.
So I throw
the only
food.
other experience of a chimera is based off of the one you encounter in the ready or the I can't think of the name of it all of a sudden. The starter kit, basically, where you meet it in you meet it outside that little town.
In the Essentials kit?
Yeah, the Essentials kit.
Yeah, so that chimera in the Essentials kit in Dragons of Icespire Peak is not normally an intelligent with languages chimera. When I ran that one, that was my first experience running one. When I ran that one, I made it an intelligent with languages chimera because I Googled online YouTube videos for how that particular module was ran, and a lot of GMs like making a couple of the creatures there much more willing to, but even though they're monsters, much more willing to have those sorts of interactions. So I think it's quite possible that's just been a player experience that we've all had and a GM experience that we've all had that is the exception, not the rule. And frankly, that's whether or not that's how our DM has it here, that's for sure how my character is playing it. is that we need to be careful. This is basically a wild animal, but smart enough, probably because of its parentage, to come after us. So, Girk, you were about to say something. Fick, you were about to say something about throwing a ball.
Food.
Oh. Okay. Cool, you beat me to it. If you're gonna throw the food, I will chuck a ball over. But either way, if you're gonna do food, would you like to help with an aid another on what I'm about to do? Because I'm gonna try to be friendly with it.
Sure.
Using his food and whatnot, can I, GM, get an aid another on a persuasion check to convince this thing we're not the bad guys?
You may.
Okay. I dropped a 1. I'll take dropping a 1 for a 25 to basically, as he's got food in his hand, I'm going to step wide of him and walk towards it same rate that he is. No sudden movements. And just basically do the equivalent of here, kitty, kitty, but, you know, in infernal. And hey, you know, I'm not actually saying here, kitty, kitty, since we know it could be intelligent, but that sort of mentality. Like, we've got you. It's okay. We're not the bad guys. I know your parent isn't here. They'll be back. Or they'll I will not say they will be back because I will not make promises I cannot be sure of. But I will say words that, you know, to that effect that I find to be soothing towards it.
Okay. Let's see. So the little chimera. That sounds like a children's book.
The littlest chimera. I love it.
The little chimera pensively approaches the food and accepts it.
And it was poison the whole time. No, I'm just kidding.
That would be rude. But my character would not have even noticed.
What kind of food is it again?
Vic has the best rations around. It's been an ongoing thing since he was level 1. He has the best rations around.
By far.
So probably, you know, fish or... I mean, they've got to be... We've been in Avernus for 2 weeks now. At this point, we may or may not be down to dry tack, even amongst his good stuff. Which would just mean, worst case scenario, he may have, you know, cured meats, beef jerkies and whatnot that he can throw out there.
Fair enough. So this little chimera is munching on it, eating it. Mostly the lion head. The dragon head manages to get a piece off of it. The goat head.
With that being a 25, would I actually be able to physically get close to it? Like touch it while it's feeding?
Sure.
If I see that any of the other heads are struggling to get food, I will absolutely, like, pet one head to distract the lion head, and while it's distracted, I'll just pick up a piece of meat and hand it to the dragon head.
Fair enough.
And that leads to a good question. Does the goat head eat meat?
Despite normal knowledge of goat anatomy, you find that the goat's teeth are, in fact, like a predator's.
Oh, then yeah.
It's terrifying.
I kind of play... That is a little terrifying. Then basically I'm over here feeling more like Jake Jabs. Like I'm playing with a baby large cat. Like, I imagine occasionally my hands are getting gnawed on while I'm trying to help feed this thing.
Okay. And eventually all three heads are eating.
If I feel like it's calmed down from being sad, I'm going to telepathically ask the party. You know, I've already said out loud that I think we need to wait here, but I'm going to telepathically ask them, like, okay, it's calm. We can't just abandon it. At the same time, Chimera might not come back to Kid if we're just hanging out inside his home. So what do you guys feel like we should do?
Our purposes are done here. We should at least head back outside.
How wide is the cave mouth?
25 feet wide, 20 feet tall.
Unfortunate. I was hoping for a 10 by 10. Ooh. While Fick and I are feeding the baby, do you guys want to check out what was behind door number 1? The wall that slid open that the baby was hiding in?
I'll do it.
I'll help.
What's the lighting like in here? Actually, this might be a time to let Druzzl actually make the check with an aid another from Gilly. Because Druzzl has 50 foot of blind sense if he wants it. So is the lighting in here maybe in need of blind sense, or is the lighting in here good, GM?
Let's see. It's dark. Like, unless you have a torch, you wouldn't be able to see in there without dark vision.
Well, I have dark vision, 60 feet.
I have dark vision 120 feet.
Oh, la-dee-da.
And then the bat that gives him blind sense for 50 feet.
And the bat can give me blind sense for 50 if I need it.
So I guess it's up to you guys who wants to aid another, or...
I'll aid
Whatever.
Druzzl since he's got the better vision. I do have the better perception, but I think that's moot.
You can cast guidance on him and aid another, though.
I can do that.
In fact, I think he can guidance himself.
Hey.
Keep forgetting about that.
Oh, look at that, I can.
Yeah, you two can cast guidance, while Fick and I can cast bardic inspiration.
So what check is this again?
Perception.
Perception?
With advantage, because you have aid another.
Yeah, that was totally the right button. Wisdom is the correct button that I click on to drag the dice, right? It's totally the right one, right?
Yep.
Nat 20 for a 28.
Nice.
Very nice.
That was almost double nat 20s.
Yeah, it wobbled for a second.
Okay. So, on the other side of the wall, it looks like there's mostly just a large nest. Just kind of something soft for the two chimeras to sleep on. There's very clearly a much larger divot on one part and a much smaller divot right next to it. but you see something kind of at the bottom of the divot of the smaller one. It looks like it was the cloak of probably a previous adventurer.
No, speak whatever language that was.
That's between me and my book.
Okay.
I would like to investigate the body.
Okay, you're taking a look at the cloak?
Sure.
Okay. You pick up the cloak. There are gems underneath it, actually. But the cloak is very clearly magical. And has elven script along the hem.
We'll pocket the gems and bring the cloak back.
Okay, and I'll get you a list of those gems.
Cool. If they're gonna take a while, I want to go through the process of identifying the cloak too.
Okay.
At least see what it is and see which of us could best use it.
And I'm sorry, I apologize. What is everyone else doing?
Well, it depends on how much time everything else is going on. Because after we feed the baby, the goal would be like to get her good and quiet and calm, and then either just let her go to sleep and we go back outside, and wait for the parents to get back. The reason I asked about the size of the opening is because I heavily considered parking a Liamon's tiny hut right in the entrance, because it would blockade anybody from being able to get in here.
Ah.
And so I'm still heavily debating using spells to reshape the mouth of the cave and parking that there. And I would probably run that by the party.
Big as Lehman's tiny hut? 10 by 10?
10 by 10, yeah.
And it was a 25-foot wide?
Yeah, but I mean, I have the spells. Frankly, you probably too. But we have the spells between us, between the party and me, to reduce the size of the entrance to the cave.
I don't have an official one that would help me with that, other than Earth Tremor or something.
I have Shape Earth, which is or Control Earth, which is a cantrip.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've got access to like 15 cantrips, and over half of them are flavor cantrips. Mold Earth. You choose a portion of dirt or stone that you can see within a range that fits within a 5-foot cube. You manipulate it in one of the following ways. So you can loosen it, you can cause shapes, colors, or both to appear. If the dirt or stone or target is on the ground, you can cause it to change its solidness to softness to create difficult terrain. So basically, I can weaken the mouth of the cave and then use Shape Earth to solidify it once again into a shape that I want, and then use Control Flame to superheat it, to solidify it, and then stop casting spells on it. So that's a lot of work versus a higher level first or second level spell that would let me just Shape Earth. Which I do have. Oh no, Shape Water's a higher level spell. Oh no, Stone Shape is to adjust it. So yeah, otherwise I could cast the 4th level spell Stone Shape and do it in a single pop. Takes 6 seconds. But probably in less than 5 or 10 minutes, I could reshape the entrance.
Okay.
I turned to my book in the middle of this discussion that we're having because everybody would have heard my book rattling behind me on my back basically from the moment we started dealing with this baby, and out loud in common as I'm looking over my shoulder, and it's obvious to everyone here that I'm talking to my book, and I go, perhaps, but it's its story to tell, not mine. Just because I brought it along on the adventure wouldn't necessarily imply that it became part of the distraction for ours. How many people did we leave behind in El Terrell? And then I just let out a loud laugh. Honestly, I bet even though they don't speak the language, I bet they understood what that was. I feel like anybody with a passive insight of say 15 or higher knows that my book literally just like shrugged its shoulders at me.
I'll accept that.
I feel like it's a Chewbacca, R2-D2, I am Groot sort of thing. You guys don't understand what my book says, but by now you've reached a point that you understand its mannerisms and understand that maybe I'm not crazy talking to my book. Maybe it does talk back. Personally, I'm waiting to find out it's all in Boston's head. Well, what do you guys think? Should we stick around? Should I block the entrance? Should we just go outside? Should we just wait in here with the kid, get it fat and happy, and put it to sleep? Like, I could cast a sleep spell on it right now.
I don't think we need to magically put it to sleep. I don't mind hanging out, letting it chill out.
So chilling out in here with it?
Or at least in the general vicinity.
So we can wander outside of the cave, and if it follows us out, it follows us out? Guide me.
Gotcha. Do I need to actually...
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Because you can set it up so that it auto drops. You drop it as an effect on me, but I don't necessarily use guidance unless I need to. Guidance can be determined after the roll. I would like to roll insight. Jaime, can this thing fly? As a baby, as it reached high, an old enough age that it's gonna fly and take off.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
For an 18, I want to break 20. 20's good. So 20 on insight. Can it? Do I think this thing can take off if we let it outside?
You do not think that it is capable of flight at this age.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm good with it. I was wondering, you know, on the one hand, you know, Mama slash Daddy Chimera could have had it trapped back here to hide it from potential enemies. It could have been trapped back here as lunch for the Chimera. It could have been trapped back here by the cult of the dragon. And the whole reason the other Chimera was loyal is because they had its baby trapped. But a last minute consideration for me was maybe Mama was worried about the baby flying away, so she had it in a little cage. So if I don't think it can fly, then I'm gonna be like, all right, I don't have a problem with that idea. I do think we need to maybe move out of the nest. Birds don't like returning to the nest if there's someone in it.
I just want to point out something. I didn't realize my mic was on mute. I've been saying this whole time, I want to stay here and play with it. And maybe if we get a good enough rapport with the baby, the parent will like us and they'll come with us.
Join the caravan. We've already got a Brock.
I literally turn and look at my book and I go, it's not my fault. I didn't say it. They did.
To be fair, I had started trying to say that shit before you started talking to your book. My mic was muted.
To be fair, not necessarily. From the moment we decided to feed it, the book started talking to me.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe not. But yeah, that I want to play with it at least for a little while till parent comes back.
Which we can play with it. I was just curious to playing if we wander out of the cave, if it would come out and play with us outside of the cave.
I'm
And as
cool
far
either.
as recruiting the Chimera to the caravan was never my goal. When if that's what everybody wants to try, that's fine. My thought process was originally simply converting it to my version of its religion and leaving it here as guardian of the temple, so that if Arkan and its people show back up, this place is ours. I figure if the Chimera works for us, that's a whole nother person on our side that justifies our claim to the religion of the Mother of Dragons as opposed to the chaotic destroyer. It's another example for us to legitimize our claim to divinity.
I mean, maybe parent will be like, all right, these guys are cool. I'll send them off with him. Go on an adventure. I want a baby Chimera.
So, what I said, so the book said something to me about us not trying to take the baby out of the nest because mom's gonna come back, parent's gonna come back. So I said to the book originally, what, did you not want a kid? And the book was like, explained why that's a bad idea, to which I replied, a child of the enemy raised by us to serve as guardian of the mother's new monument. Sure sounds like a good story to me. Out of game, my patron Warlock Pact is literally to make it a good story. So any opportunity Boston has to throw it back into his patron's face and be like, sounds like a good story, he does. So he goes, sure sounds like a good story to me. And then I quoted the never-ending story, with many adventures and many journeys ahead, but perhaps that's a story for another time.
Yeah, that did not go over my head. I caught that.
I felt like it fit as a sort of response to what the book was saying.
And I
Specifically
agree.
the never-ending story reference. So then, basically, I'm having this back and forth about whether or not we want to collect this Chimera to the party, and my patron effectively is going, look, man, I get why you want to, but it could distract from what you guys are doing. It's all this, that, and the other. And then your response is, anybody want to keep it?
Pretty much.
Last thing we want to do is make an enemy of a guardian of the Church of Tiamat, because that could raise faith back towards the other Tiamat. You know, all of a sudden we're kidnapping babies and stuff.
Yeah, but if mom willingly says go ahead, that's not kidnapping.
Yeah, but we're also on a dangerous enough adventure that a full-grown adult chimera is not safe with us. A baby's definitely not.
Fine. And I kick the dirt and scuff.
As you sort of scuff the dirt and like turn away, I'm gonna look at you and go, "Did you already had a name picked out, didn't you?"
Couple.
You can't name something until you know if you're gonna keep it. That's how you get attached. Just like you don't name the pig you're about to slaughter. And I
Well,
like rebuff
yet.
you with it. What's that?
It wasn't official yet.
How about we see what happens when its parent comes back?
Alright, that works.
And then I kind of whisper to the party, did anybody catch whether its parent was mom or dad? There's no way Felix caught what gender the chimera was. Felix would never assume a gender either. So, given that Felix has a perception or a wisdom of, I think, 13. It's either 13 or 14. Let me open my character sheet. Wisdom of 12 and an intelligence of 13. Yeah, I think Felix is very likely to be like, guys, I didn't see. Did anybody happen to catch whether we're talking about mom or dad?
I didn't.
Out of game, I don't think anybody's ever asked. So this would be the end game time to ask Jaime if you guys caught it.
I
Well, let's see. I mean, anyone who has an insight or an insight above 12 would be able to identify it, honestly.
Let me see what my passive insight is. Skills. My insight is 13.
Okay, so you're able to determine it because the child actually called out for daddy.
Right, okay. Okay, then we definitely don't want to cause any problems because as far as I understand it, this is a very territorial species. So our smartest thing is to be outside playing with it or camping with it when its parent returns. And it's very possible, because we've wandered into the nest, its parent is still here watching us. Or within range of being able to keep this place safe.
That's me.
Okay.
that's fine. Get outside.
Okay. Do we want to take like a short rest here or just stay here and see after a few hours if Dad comes back?
I like the short rest idea.
All right, we'll take at least a short rest, which is like an hour. If it's not back in an hour, how long would you guys be willing to wait? But that also allows Druzzl to identify.
A day.
Well, a day, I would look at you and be like, that's a terrible idea. The guy we just fought has an entire army, and he teleported out of here to them.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of missions we need to get done.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
We got shit to do.
Can we come back?
The question becomes then, after a few hours, do we take the kid with us and come back, or do we leave it here, lock it back up? We can lock it back up in the room, in its little room.
I mean, if that's what Dad did to it, that's probably what he thinks would be safest for it, so we might as well.
It's true. So what do we say? Like a maximum of like 4 hours. We're willing to wait for Dad, and then if Dad doesn't show back up, we coax it back into its little area.
Yeah.
Does that work for you, Gilly and Druzzle?
Think so?
Sure.
Okay. Then yeah, we're gonna take 4 hours, at the very least the equivalent of a short rest. If you want to throw us a short rest.
Okay. Short rest. Party taking short rest. Okay.
How many hours before Dad comes, or does Dad come back in while we're here?
Yes.
Okay.
Dad gets the fish too.
I'd be of the mentality that if we got that kid fat and played with and tired, I would probably create a cuddle puddle, and like you would cuddle up with a pet, a dog or a cat.
I did it with a full-grown dragon. You think I'm not going to do it with a chimera?
A little more spiky, I think, but it's neither here nor there.
And then, so yeah, we just need to know how many hours before he comes back, and if Druzzl was successfully able to identify things during that short rest.
I've already messaged Druzzl.
Sweet. At some point then during the time period, depending on how long we were there, I would ask Druzzl, hey, you ever, what'd you find in there, lad?
Am I still identifying the item when you ask that?
I mean, I would have waited a little bit of time, so I'm going to repeat. I'm still waiting to know how long before the dragon gets back, but I would have probably asked either during the identification or by the time you were done with identification so that you would have information to actually give. Because I would have been playing with and feeding the kid the rest of the time. And once I realized you were identifying, I would have just waited till you were done identifying and asked again.
So this is after you're done identifying. Short answer.
It's a cloak of elven kind.
Cloak of elven kind, you say? Wonder who he ate. Right? And I go, well, whoever he ate probably didn't know how to use that cloak very well. And I sort of gesture towards Fick, and I go, you might know how to use it, but I bet he gets more out of it. And I just turn back to like playing with the cat thing. Treating it like an animal cat thing.
Denal's a paladin, right?
Yes.
Denal's a paladin, yeah.
If y'all are okay with it, I'm gonna give it to Denal.
Fine by me.
I'm gonna ask your reasoning, but I don't have a problem with it.
It nullifies his disadvantage on stealth checks.
Fair. On the other hand, that's the same reason I suggested it to Fick, but because Fick, it gives him advantage on all his stealth checks.
I haven't seen him roll less than a 28 in a long time.
I know. Out of game, I respect that. In game, Felix is trying to prove that Fick is a god. Having advantage on all stealth checks when he's already rolling that high, it creates a legend of significantly more power to his stealth. So that's my in-game mentality.
That's only about half of its ability too, though.
Yeah, the other half is it also gives disadvantage to people trying to perceive you. So you get advantage on stealth, and they get disadvantage to see you.
Okay.
So to me, out of game, like for me, it's the do you give an NPC a magic item sort of argument. Out of game is all it is. Like I completely agree with giving it to Denal for negating his disadvantage on stealth. It would make his stealth just a neutral roll. I also don't know that he has disadvantage on stealth. What type of armor is he wearing?
That I don't know, but
Because he would only have disadvantage on stealth if he was wearing heavy armor.
or some mediums.
His armor is chainmail, which is heavy armor.
So then, yeah, he's probably got disadvantage. So I've weighed in with my out-of-game opinion and in-game opinion.
What about everybody else?
I try it on while you guys are arguing and ask how it looks.
You just walk over and just like stick your head up in there and just sort of pull it on. Because I can't imagine he's letting it out of his hands until he's decided what he's doing with it. But you're tiny, so well, small at the very least. So I sort of have this mental image of we're standing there talking about it, and then all of a sudden your head just pushes through the collar of it.
Yeah, something like that. And literally I say, how does it look?
What kind of condition is it in, DM?
It is dirty, but it is otherwise in good repair. The Chimera was basically using it or not like a blanket, but as kind of like padding for the nest.
So it might also stink.
Yes.
Can I use prestidigitation to fix that?
Prestidigitation will get rid of that.
Done.
See
Because
it
you're-
all happening in one fell swoop. He just like he grabs it, throws it over his head, and as he does, it becomes clean. And then he goes, "How does it look?"
Well, like I said, I sort of picture Druzzl holding it up sort of by the shoulders to be like, what do you guys think? Should this go to Denal? And that's when Fick just slides up into it, still in Druzzl's hands. So it's almost like Druzzl's hands would be like on his shoulders, more or less, at this point, while this question is being asked. Unless, I don't know, I'm speaking for Druzzl, but normally out of game, he typically isn't going to let go of something like that unless he's actually handing it to somebody. So in response to your question of should Denal get it, Fick sticks his head through it and goes, how does it look? What do you do?
I'd probably laugh at his shenanigans.
I think that might be the first time.
Wow, that just lagged out really bad halfway through. Did you say that you think that's the first time he's laughed?
At me?
Yeah, I think you might be right. You still haven't offered an opinion at all, Gilly.
Don't really have one.
You're the leader, you have to have one. And I would literally turn to you and say, you haven't offered an opinion at all. You're the leader, you literally have to have one. Because for me, once I realized it was padding, I keep looking back at the kid going, you know, worst case scenario, we could just wrap it around the kid and the kid stays safe.
This is true. That's
Or
probably
we could put it on Lulu and keep Lulu safe.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought of that one too, but
What's Denal's opinion? Druzzl? Would he wear it? I mean, obviously this has been a consideration out loud. So
I don't know. What is Donal's opinion? Since we've all been talking about it.
It all shrugs. I would wear it if given to it, or given. But I can but if it's better used elsewhere, please.
I think this may have become a situational use item. It ends up on somebody that we think that can get the most use out of it in a passive sort of way, which would in this particular case be Denal. And then if we find a situation, look, we need a little more stealth going on, and we've got this guy over here, let's go do a thing, we'll throw it to that person.
Don't you have to attune to it?
Does it require attunement? I do not know.
It does require attunement.
Well, attunement only takes an hour.
True.
And I don't mind taking an hour. I say, as you guys literally watch me as we're having this conversation, I'm welling energy up around me like I'm playing, like this is the early 2000s and I'm at a rave. Like I'm welling up little energy balls. And for an outer game perspective, Jaime, this is me using the short rest to restore my spell slots.
Cool.
Before I do that, I'll have to figure out what time Dad gets here, because then I'll know how long I have to restore them. But
yeah, soon after your short rest is
so we're
when
gonna get about an hour.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. That gives me 2 third-level spell slots back.
Okay. So about an hour passes, and then you hear wing beats echoing across the wasteland. And you see the Chimera return.
How far away is he when he lands?
He lands about 40 feet away from you.
I toss a fish about halfway between us.
The 20-foot fish toss.
Could be 25, but, you know, not picky, but roughly halfway between us.
Decent yeet.
I'd probably be the last one to see, so I don't think I would notice the Chimera until I see him chuck a fish, and then I'd go, oh. And I'd probably, like, tap the little creature that had been getting tired, the little baby hanging out with us, and I'd point in the direction of his dad.
And the little Chimera happily runs up to the adult Chimera.
I make no moves to stop him, and if any of the party does, I go, no, let him.
No, God, no. No, we don't want another fight. We're pushing our luck playing with him as it is. No. I watch with unbridled glee as I watch the baby be so happy.
At this point, we're all in the middle of still having that conversation, and I would kind of like look over at Druzzl, and I'd be like, yeah, I know the plan went kind of out the window mid-conversation. Yeah, give it to Denal for now. It'll allow it to be part of his costume.
I'll give it to Denal.
Because mechanically, you are right. He will get the most benefit out of it at the moment.
I mean, I can also see that, like, if we're planning on stealing something, that we give it to Fick, but if we're planning on general use, it's Denal kind of thing.
Well, and I also can see you wearing it.
Yeah, except I'd lose my cloak of protection.
Yeah.
That was one. I'd thought about it too.
Yeah, Fick doesn't need it, but God, it would help him. Everybody else gets a limited just enjoyment out of it, while Denal actually removes a negative because of it. So, my character would go out of his way to study it as it's passing hands ever so briefly, because I'm like, maybe I should make some of those.
It was funny when he first identified it as a cloak of elven kind. My mic was muted, but I said, "What? Does it turn you into an elf?"
Elven kind sort of makes sense. When I picture cloaks of elven kind, I actively picture the Lord of the Rings and the cloaks that they gave the hobbits.
Yes.
Because the hobbits were already good at hiding, and then take the cloak of elven kind, ball it up over top of them, and lay down. Suddenly, they look like a rock.
Yep.
So that you have the description of a cloak of elven kind, Fick, they change your they change color as well. They like they're like a chameleon. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, cloaks of elven kind are super cool.
I'm glad I have partial ownership then. Timeshare.
Timeshare cloak of elven kind.
Yep.
So yeah, you kind of, I see you, the baby runs towards Dad, you take a couple steps forward, causing you to step out from under the cloak. When you step out from under the cloak, that's when I sort of bump Druzzl and go, yeah, I know it's a change of plans, but just give it to the paladin. Chucks it over. Denal, slings it on, whatever he does. The Dad, how's it reacting to baby running up to him?
The Father Chimera leans down, nuzzles the baby, and then says, Almirage, how did you get out of the cave?
Where is my notes section? Boom. Add note called NPC names, because we didn't have one before. Click to enter text. Almirage.
I kind of elbow you in the ribs a little bit, and I say, that's what I was going to call him.
Okay, it's added. I'm going to start keeping track of our names in Fantasy Grounds.
That works.
Does the kid respond to Dad? Because if not, I will just stick my hand straight up in the air and wave a little bit, like, over here.
The wall opened up. I thought you were home. Oh, did it? And then he looks over to your group.
Waving, hi.
And he pads forward.
Does he eat the fish?
The dragon head leans down and picks up the fish at the very least.
Okay. I think we're good.
So then I guess I have to ask, where is the bust of Tiamat?
I look at him without skipping a beat and say, getting replaced. The mother needs to be represented in her divinity, so it is being restored to a beautiful luster, and then will be returned. And then a bust shall be returned, if you wish. As I said to you before you left, we are not enemies of you, and we are not enemies of Tiamat. We simply have a different faith in her than the previous, how would I say this? The previous patrons of this monument. In fact, that's the previous bust was just like stone, right? Like carved stone.
Yes.
I look at Gilwin and I just pop him on the shoulder and I go, "Hit me again," which is my way of saying guidance. Do you respond, Gilly?
I said I got you.
Okay.
Is my okay.
I have to cast a DC 18 Arcana check to cast this spell. Otherwise, this is going to blow up, well, on the ground in front of us. I target... Well, first off, I need to go here and type the word stone so I get the description of the spell correctly. Okay, so then what I would actually do is I would use the cantrip first to pull 5 feet of dirt and stone out of the ground and then solidify it. And then I'm going to cast Stone Shape. That's the one that requires the check to cast. And I will create a bust of the Obsidian Dragon, Tiamat. But first I have to pass that DC 18 Arcana.
I don't think that you did.
I think, did I get an inspiration for my recap? I assumed I did.
Yes, you did.
Okay, I spend it. That's no good. Can Bardic Inspiration be used as a reaction?
No.
That's a real sad. What was that?
I was gonna say
Too
I
bad
have
I
an
can't
inspiration.
see where Barb you.
Pause. Everybody talking at the same time. Gilly was talking first. What, Gilly?
I have an inspiration you can use.
Okay. What'd you say, Girk?
I don't remember anymore.
Sorry.
Something about silvery barbs.
Oh yeah. I could. Too bad I can't use silvery barbs
Also
to help you.
Why not?
because silvery barbs is for attack rolls. I think it even specifies attack rolls. Really? You rolled in the box and didn't pop up? That's rude.
I thought it was just any roll, any D20 roll, but you had to take the lowest.
I can look it up in a second. Let me finish what I'm doing first.
I'm looking it up. Don't worry.
20 on the Arcana check. Well, we actually have it in the game now. It's one of the books we added. Whoops, I didn't mean to click use. So I needed to add it to my character sheet anyways, and technically to yours, but...
Your attack roll, ability check, or saving throw.
But either way, it wouldn't help me, because the next step is I roll again and take the lower.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh. Yeah, so either way, that's why I was trying to say either way it's irrelevant, which is why we could look it up later.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, I didn't catch. But no worries. We're good. I think.
Where
Okay.
is the button? Oh, it's under characters. Spells. Because now that it has the text for it, I'm going to add silvery barbs to my character sheet, because it's supposed to be there anyways. Yay! Whole reason I went and got Strixhaven, so that we no longer had to eschew the spells from there that we were using.
Yay. I didn't realize Silvery Barbs was from Strixhaven.
Yep. Yeah, it's specifically, it's a Silver Quill spell.
Ah.
But yeah, so I got a 20 to cast Stone Shape. I am going to shape the stone into a bust of identical weight. The front image, instead of the 5 heads it had before, it's arguably got 6. So it looks like a normal bust of Tiamat would, but I make the overall size of that part a little bit more demure, a little bit smaller, and receded into the background of what looks more like a masthead or maidenhead of the obsidian dragon, her humanoid form, sort of at the front of it. And I carved this straight out of the ground right next to the Chimera. Like it's him and I are standing there. Well, we're all standing there, but and it just sort of pops up out of the ground right beside us.
And I'm sorry, I don't know if I missed it. Is this of a dragon head or is this of the human form?
So technically, it's both. So if you take what looked like the original bust before, but sort of mute the details, and basically just make its size a hair smaller, and for every little bit that you make it smaller, we're going to take that weight, because I want the overall weight of this to be the same, and it'll be the human form sort of standing in front of what was the five-headed bust. Because yes, she's got a humanoid form, but she's still the mother of dragons. She's still going to represent all of them. So in the finer detail, even like, because it would be the bust of the five heads, but a full body of her, sort of carved like it's extended out of the front of that bust. And so with the heads coming up around her, and in the fine detail around the feet of the bust and everything, I would have representations of dragonkind as a whole, not as a divided species. Because even though the other dragons do not worship her, they worship Bahamut. I am trying to create an effigy that says they're all one species, and it is, you know, in the faith that my character has spread, it's Bahamut that's created this division between them. That division isn't supposed to be there. No mother would intentionally separate their children. And I'm also spreading the whole propaganda that Bahamut is a liar, that he spreads propaganda. But I figure since it was a mechanical sort of pressure plate system, at the very minimum, the weight of this object needs to be identical.
Okay.
What's the Chimera's reaction?
The Chimera is looking at it in interest. Like, so who's the human in the front?
I turn and I say, "How dare you?" And I just sort of chuckle and I go, "That is no human. For all faiths are recognized within the Great Wheel, are they not? Within the Great Wheel, all species from all worlds have the ability to share their gods. Tiamat is not just the mother of dragons. This is the fallacy taught by the enemy, the fallacy taught by the tyrant known as Bahamut." I would actually say it with an accent. I'd be like, "The tyrant known as Bahamut." And I go, "In fact, while this is the way we have all known her," and I sort of gesture to the dragons in the background, I turn straight to him and I say, "Despite what Arkin has said, I have met Tiamat. I have met the mother. And when she walks along the Great Wheel, her forms are many, for she is the mother of all creation. She was the first of the gods. She was the first of the living. And so she is she is the creator of far more than our fire-breathing friends." And I sort of like gesture to the red dragon head on his back. And I say, "We all see walks in her." And I would actually, at this point, maybe use my stone-shaped cantrip to even carve a few little chimeras in there as being recognized as part of the lineage. In the you know, finer details around the feet of the bust. This is the Mother Tiamat who welcomes us. This is just the form that we met her in. And this is the form she walks Avernus in even now. She has asked for but 3 things since since the inception of the religions of dragons. Tiamat has asked for but 3 things, and we have given her 2. We have woken her. We have allowed her to walk Avernus. That is 2 of 3. The 3rd will come in time.
I'm intrigued. Though I do vaguely remember that the other bust had gems in it.
Out of game. I was about to be like, out of game. Do I need to roll an insight to see if this guy is trying to like shake me down for loot? But with my perception and wisdom and stuff being low, I'd go, well, if you say so, but it would require me to adjust the weight, I imagine. You're right. She carries a great horde like all dragons, and I would gesture to the people around, and I would say, and her horde is all of us, not simply the trinkets. But you are guardian of this memorial. If you say it is so, then perhaps it is. Out of game. Guys, do we have any gems?
Well, you guys had some from the original statue, and then I found some.
Did we have some from the original statue?
The original statue had 10 gems in it, 2 for each of its eyes, and 2 for each of the color, or for each of the different color heads. Like it had white gems in the, it had white gems in the white dragon head. It had red gems in the red dragon head.
That's gems aren't hard. Gems are created by heat and pressure. So even if we didn't have them, I'd be able to throw them on there. But if they're simple gems and we have them, we didn't pop them out of the original bust, did we?
No.
No. Do we have any other gems in the party, guys? Anybody in your inventory?
Yes.
We found a few of them not too long ago.
I found 10 exactly.
You might need to check my inventory.
Are your 10 of differing colors?
I've got 1 amber, 1 amethyst, 2 crystal beryl, 1 coral, 1 garnet, 2 jet, 1 spinel, and 1 tourmaline.
You have 2 jet. I have 2 eye agate. What did you have another 2 of?
Chrysoberyl.
2 chrysoberyl. So 2. We still need 4 more of 2 and 2.
Are you okay with me announcing what you have as far as gems go, Kirk?
I'm sorry?
Are you okay with me announcing what you have as far as gems go?
Yes.
Okay. I see that Fick has 16 eye agates.
Does he have anything else?
I am looking through. No.
My agate, because I don't know what that is, I had to Google it. And apparently it's something straight out of the Forgotten Realms. It's not real. Eye agate was similar to banded agate, but the layers within the stone arrange in concentric rings. They come in a variety of colors, typically white, brown, grayish blue, and drab green. A typical stone has a base value of 10 gold. If eye agates come in different colors, are we able to come up with 5 separate sets from my 2 and his 16?
You said they come in white, brown, grayish blue, and drab green?
Yeah.
So technically you can come up with 6 of them. 2 white, 2 blue, and 2 green. But you still wouldn't have the red ones or the black ones.
Well, to be fair, I don't need them to be special. The ones in the background, I may even use my stone shaping to fog. And the only 2 that matter that need to shine would be the ones in the obsidian dragon's eyes. And I would polish them to the brightest luster possible.
How legitimate is our party inventory?
In the thing? Not
Yeah.
legitimate.
Not legitimate. Okay.
I wish.
Yeah. Because there's 20 azurites in there and 2 jewelry boxes.
So what colors did you say we were missing? Red and what?
Red and black. But black can be covered by the 2 jets that Druzzl has.
Yeah. And azurite's blue. Only there was a way to dye one set red somehow. Give me a moment. Let me think.
Aren't amethysts and garnets red?
Amethysts are purple. Garnets are red.
Do we have garnets?
I have a garnet. What about the rest that you said I had? Are any of them red?
Let me look up some of them. Spinels can be red. But I think that they're mostly pink in color.
Yeah, they're a little bit more pink.
Let's see. Tourmaline, I want to say that that is a gem that is green and purple. Yes.
Yeah.
So rubies are red, red spinels are red, garnet is red, jasper is red, topaz is either yellow or red. Beryl can come in green, aquamarine, and red.
Chrysoberyl, which you have 2 of, are yellow. Typically.
I can make crystals that are not gemstones, that are of all the colors. That's easy. That's basic science, and we have magic. So they wouldn't be precious gemstones, but the argument then would be that her eyes, if you assume that the other 10 are worth 10 golds apiece, and we're reducing their value to the pure and weak value of crystal, the 2 in the obsidian dragon's eyes, because dragon hordes, that sort of stuff, should equal the missing value for ritual purposes. So the dragons in the back, their eyes are all done with the azurite. That's it. Just a flat azurite. I fog their eyes. Azurite would cover the weight, and we have plenty of those, so we could just pull 10 of those out. Boom, we're good. Hers, she's the obsidian dragon. Obsidian, if I'm not mistaken, is stone glass.
Yes. Obsidian is black glass that is created from volcanoes.
Yeah. Just double checking. I'm pretty sure you can make it synthetically by superheating stone. You need to rapidly cool silica-rich a molten mixture of silica-rich materials. So I literally just need to superheat the sand around us and then rapid cool it. I have shape water, I have control earth, I have control fire, I have all the flavor spells necessary that I could make her entire bust of the part that's her, the obsidian dragon, out of obsidian.
That'd be cool.
So I'm gonna do that. I assume there's sand around us.
Oh yeah.
Not just, yeah. I was like, we called it a wasteland, so I assume there wouldn't just be, dirt, quote unquote, but specifically sand. Yeah, then that's what I would do. And so theirs would all be sort of just generic in the background. I would, if the party's okay with it, just decorate the rest of it with the other 10 azurite just for shits. Make it look fancier than the previous one we took.
Can you, as part of this process, make it look like the gems are like we're already there and you just made them come to the surface?
Oh sure, because I made the whole thing out of shape earth, so I could literally when we create it, you could toss the stones in a pile or toss them in a bag and on the ground, and then I pull the stone up out of around it out of twisting earth, and as it stretches itself into the shape that I want it to, those crystals would then well up from the inside of the body or from the inside of the bust into their sockets.
Well, I was thinking like after he said I thought there were gems on it, you'd be like there are, and they poke themselves out at that point.
I would need gems to target. So I guess telepathically, because I was asking you guys if we had gems out of game. We never discussed how I asked in game. So in game, I could telepathically be like, "Hey, does anybody got a bunch of gemstones?" And then well them up through it. Yeah, but somebody else would have to pot the gemstones or have the gemstones handy for me. Because otherwise, he'll see me throw the stones on the ground and well them up out of it.
Well, since most of them are coming from Fick, shouldn't Fick be able to very easily get them in the ground?
Is true. Fick, make me, Jaime, can Fick make me a sleight of hand check to secretly deposit gemstones for me to use? Just to make it look cool?
Sure, one moment. $24.
Jesus H. God, he rolled a 12, guys. That was a hell of a sleight of hand roll for barely rolling above 50%. Then, yeah, Fick, if you're okay with sleight of handing them there, you had a good roll, I would then will them up through it. You are currently muted, Fick.
I'm totally okay with that.
Then yeah, that's what we do to answer his question. When he's like, weren't there gemstones? Telepathically, I go, guys, were there gemstones? And I feel like I get like a tap on the shoulder, like, just, they're there, just make it happen. We're performers. And then that's what I do. The gemstones come out at the same time. The obsidian superheats. And as the flame starts to come up it, because I've got 3 different spells that would allow me to create the fire around it. I use then control flames to cook it. So the whole bust solidifies, but then that flame slowly wraps to the front around the part that is her bust, and that's when it superheats it. And when it superheats it, I simply walk over with, I've got tools, a hammer of some kind, and just give it a quick tap When you give obsidian a tap as it's forming, that's what creates the like spider-webbed sort of refractions through it. And I say, the many-faceted obsidian dragon, mother of us all.
Interesting.
You know Arkan will try to return.
Of this I am aware.
Do you believe I will be able to convince him that the obsidian is not his enemy?
Honestly,
I would say I would have him be no threat to you, and I would gesture down to the kid or Almiraj.
honestly, it is hard to say. Especially with the hand that he was gifted by Tiamat. The Chaos Dragon.
It is quite an estrangement of power, but while he may have been gifted with a hand from her, I was gifted with her voice.
Does her voice allow you to command armies of undead?
With the voice of Tiamat, the mother of creation, all things are possible. And when I say that, for shits and giggles, I burn out every single cantrip I have, which includes crap tons of druid craft going on and stuff. There is a tiny little oasis of magical life growing out of the wasteland around me. And I say, what cannot be done through Tiamat, or through the obsidian dragon, can be done through those that mother her. For this is the truth of the divine. This is the truth of the marionettes, and this is the truth of the mother. I want to like bring the conversation back to the marionettes, because divine interactions. I'm not just trying to restore the obsidian dragon. I'm trying to create an entire pantheon of gods that include Vic. So this is an opportunity to sort of re-reference it. And I guess that brings us back to a conversation we had on the island with the life goddess when I rebuilt the wall there and put that the creation goddess of creation Tiamat was part of it. I'd put a little subtext, almost like a signature, on one spot that was that Boston was here too, and Vic was here too. I'm sorry, not Vic, but Visage was here too. So on the back of the bust, in very small sizing, there'd probably be a little feline like a tabaxi in a wizard's hat, and it's a little tiny, almost like a stick figure, running, and there's a masked figure, Visage, behind him running along with him, as almost like an afterthought. Because I said at that on the lake at that first temple that every time I create something like this, I put something like that in as an afterthought. So basically, this is my way of saying to the dragon, I'm not really scared of a hand that can do all that, but I also don't know in-game what that hand is. So I can be a braggart in-game because I'm not threatened. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be talking so bravely. Because out of game, I know exactly what that damn hand is.
You're brave. I'll give you that. Or maybe you're just stupid.
I would laugh and say these days anything's possible. Hell, for shits and giggles, one of those 2 third-level spell slots I got back, I'm just gonna go ahead and burn one. I'm out of game. I'm not actively casting a spell with that slot. I'm just pumping extra magical energy into the whole cantrip things that I'm building 3rd-level magic worth. Basically to make it seem a little more powerful. So for roleplay reasons. And I'd say, if this bust is restored to your home, up to your nest, I would fear for your safety should Arkan return. Do you think you can handle him, or would you like us to?
Worry not about us.
I worry. I am the voice of the mother, my child. I worry about all of her children.
Then let me speak more plainly. We will be fine.
I would just give him a nod, like, okay. Your injuries from our previous battle, would you like them? Would you... How would I describe it? I basically am going to ask him if he wants us to heal him. But I would ask it in a way like, do you need succor, or do you need reprieve from your injuries? Something like that.
I will not decline it. If you are offering.
Oh yeah. I don't know how much healing he needs, but let's say I'll burn 2 2nd-level spell slots on Cure Wounds.
Okay.
Do you want me to cast it, or you want to just eschew that?
Go ahead and cast and roll it.
Okay. Cure Wounds. Bloop. Uno. Dos. So 24 points of healing.
Okay. It's a start.
And I say, then we shall worry not, and we shall take our leave of you, unless you have more you would ask of us.
Nope.
Out of game, does he need us to move the bust in, or does he have that?
He picks it up with a paw and kind of rests it inside, or on the inside of its elbow? I don't know if that's appropriate to say for a 4-legged creature.
For a 4-legged, 3-headed creature?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I would give him a nod, and I would just turn and start walking towards the vehicle, hoping my party is following me.
Donald definitely proceeds.
Yeah, I'll follow. And once I feel I'm out of earshot of the Chimera, I'm gonna say, well, that could have gone worse.
I say goodbye to
Wait.
the little baby one first.
I'm gonna say, well, that could have gone better.
The baby headbutts you with the lion head.
Like a kitty headbutt?
Yes.
Yeah. I swear to goodness, if anything happens to this chimera.
We're
First I'm
coming after
kicking,
you.
first I'm kicking his dad's ass, and then I'm going after whoever hurt him.
John Wick style.
Yeah. I think I'm as obsessed with this baby chimera as I have been with Lulu, and the baby chimera has only been with us for a couple of hours.
This Chimera's only been with us for a couple of hours, but if anything happens to him, I'm going to kill everyone in this room and then myself.
Yep. That's the one.
So basically, you didn't ask how big the room was. You said I cast fireball.
Yep. You realize this room is too small? You realize I didn't ask that?
Okay, Joe.
Yeah, so we load up because we have other stuff we need to take care of.
Indeed. And where's the first place that you're off to?
Well, the first place
Neverland.
that we're off to is to the Demon Zapper. We have us a spined devil with us that I need to spill a little reliquary on. And that little reliquary, if I spill it on him, will free him of his shape. And if he is freed of his shape, he will be able to help us release the giant that's there. Correct? I believe that was the whole reason we were on this path.
I don't believe that it was well, the Spine Devil will turn into a giant.
Yeah. And the giant would be able to help us free her.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we're on the way to the Demon Zapper, and basically along the way we're gonna let him know. By the way, we got what you were looking for. So that is the plan. Do we need to biobreak or anything while you figure out maps and such?
I would appreciate it.
Why don't we go ahead and take a quick bio? I should already have a map for the thing. I'm gonna go ahead and roll for Frickendolt's navigation.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and take a quick 5-10, and then we'll meet back in a bit.
Sounds groovy.
All right.
outside air. Who's still in chat?
Totally not me. I totally left earlier.
Yeah, I haven't been here all session.
Yeah, there you go. So I think I've decided Felix's thought process on trying to restore the or make the obsidian dragon be considered a top pantheon goddess of creation. It would allow us to create dragon rider lore in 5e. Of a mortal humanoid restored draconic power to what he considers the throne of draconics, he has the opportunity to then perhaps convince her to create a dragon rider system. And I think that's something that he is going to work towards. Because there's no lore for that in D&D except for in the Dragonlance series. And I guess now that I say that, I probably should get the Dragonlance D&D book and see if they have Dragon Rider stuff in there.
Probably, because Dragon Riders are a huge thing.
Yeah, and I know that they didn't add it in the Fizzbands book, so if they were going to add it in one, it would be the Dragonlance module. And that would be awesome. I've always wanted to do Dragon Riders in D&D. In 3.5, a paladin hits level 5 and they can choose a special mount. They technically still can in this, but what it is they just get the ability to cast Phantom Steed, and that summons the mount for them. And the mount just takes the form of whatever they're trying to summon. I think they actually get Greater Phantom Steed even, or some shit like that. Or Greater Summon Steed. But in 3.5, there were rules for prestige classes for paladins that allowed them to get drakes and stuff, and then ultimately dragons. But I don't think 5e has anything for that unless it's in Dragonlance.
I am back, by the way.
Jaime, do you know of anything other than the potentially the Dragonlance module in D&D 5e that would include rules for like Dragon Riders? I don't know that the Dragonlance books has it. I'm postulating that it probably does, but I can't think of any other ones that might.
And you said specifically in 3rd edition?
In 5e.
And
3e
5e.
there was quite a bit of stuff. But I don't think 5e has anything unless Dragonlance has it.
I can't think of it, no.
Okay. Well, I was just telling them that I think I figured out Felix's mentality. The worlds of 5e D&D don't have dragon riders. I am worshipping dragons and trying to create a united dragon sort of mythology and whatnot. I think Boston is trying to create a path that leads towards dragon riding. Because a humanoid making a deal to resurrect or to awaken a dragon god, like that right there is the recipe for the starter conversation of dragon riding. So I think I think I'm going to factor that being a thought process of his into forward role playing. Also because I've been on an Aragon kick lately. Christopher Paolini, the writer of Aragon, is currently in talks with, not in talks, they're working on an Aragon TV show for Disney Plus. And he also revealed that he is planning on releasing 3 books at once, and one of them will be sort of a finale to the Aragon book series, but then the other 2 are a book about one of the specific characters in the Aragon book series, and book 3 is about a new type of character within the Aragon world. So like he's trying to expand the Aragon universe, but take it away from the Aragon story. Which I think is super cool. So it's just kind of been on my thoughts, and I realized, I feel like with how obsessed he is about this whole obsidian dragon thing, that might be part of his thought process, especially after being corrupted, for lack of a better term, by the Gaius. The Gaius tells him to free a unicorn, right? So the unicorn is something you ride. We've dealt with unicorns. We've dealt with nightmares enough now to the point that he figured out that nightmares are made by killing unicorns. So, or Pegasi. And so again, it ties everything he's doing back to writing things. Then enter all this dragon stuff. It sort of fits that right now his brain being sort of vulnerable to all of this stuff, that's how he would sort of turn it in his head. Oh, man, and then I could make Denal a paladin, the first dragon rider.
Ooh. That would be fun.
More, because well, I realized with that bust, that's what I just did. I tied dragon mythology to humanoid mythology. So, creating a sort of an idea of a simpatico bond between dragons and humanoids absolutely creates the strings and story hooks right there, just in that thought process for creating dragon riders. And even so, like the movie Dragonheart, the sort of the whole idea that a dragon can give up part of its power to save a humanoid, or the Aragon idea that a dragon in a humanoid form can be bonded. You know, and we know that dragons can shapeshift in humans, but what if Tiamat decides, with her ability to shapeshift into her human form, that she doesn't necessarily want all dragons to have that? What if she instead decides, here's a little chaos for you, dragons can no longer become humanoid. Instead, their humanoid form is just born out in the world. They have to go find it. And that becomes their dragon rider. Stuff like that. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. My character is a demigod walking around with the powers of creation and who worships the goddess of creation. Like, we've got another god with us. We have the power to change the lore of 5e right as 5e is turning into 2024. And I think I want to.
That'd be fun.
So, if we're back, is the recording still going, GM, or did you have to turn it back on?
I never turned it off.
Okay. So does the recording
edits it out?
Oh, okay. I was about to say, so does the recording pick up these conversations? I guess I never noticed. Anyways, I think we're all back. So the question becomes, did he roll well? How far do we have to travel? Because does a conversation or anything need to happen with our spined devil about trying to save him?
He did roll well. You were on your way over and you're making your way onto the demon zapper. Along the way, though, as you're kind of passing the river Styx, you notice something off in the distance. there is a figure by themselves waving. It looks like they're trying to hitch a ride.
Who's driving? Who usually drives? It's either Druzzl or Gilwyn, right? Or no, it's Gilwyn.
Yeah, it's usually one of us, but probably me this time.
Okay.
Surprise, it's one of the chickens.
There's a chicken waving?
No, it's one of the chickens that's driving.
Oh. Hey, you never know. I totally see that anime scene of who's... Oh my god, there's a proximity alert. Oh god, we're all gonna crash. Who's driving this thing? Oh wait, that's me. And then walk into the front, and there's a chicken there. Yes, I did just tie in a Firefly reference. So yeah, Gilwyn, you see somebody waving. Do you tell us? Like...
Yeah. If there's nobody up on the turret or whatever.
I would argue that for the moment, other than informing the Titan that we are going to save him, and then maybe spending a few minutes going, but here's the deal, you have to help us free this woman, she is adorable, I have this person you want to meet, because Boston is still trying to get him to date, the two of them to date, because he's like, you're a giant and you're a giant. Now let's kiss.
Wow.
You don't remember that? Me flirting with the Titan, or flirting with the Demon Zapper woman saying, I know a guy that might be interested?
Oh no, I quite remember.
To be fair, there's method to my chaos. There is a reason that I did that. Giants naturally despise dragons. I argue that natural disposition comes from the propaganda and lore created by the ancient stories. We have a new obsidian dragon. We have every opportunity to fix things, darling. So I'm totally being a Yenta in the name of the dragons, trying to hook up a couple of giants that aren't even the same type of giant, because then a whole new species of giants can be made that all got together because the dragon said so.
Nice.
So I'm not just being crazy with that one. That's just another one of my little strengths. So otherwise, other than maybe chatting up this girl, I'm literally sitting there like legs crossed. I look like Rafiki sitting on the rock. Correction, I know your father. Like that's how I'm sitting on the rock, or sitting on the thing. And occasionally I like look over at the giant and be like, did I tell you what she looks like? Man, that booty dough.
I also think that you're misremembering. The protector of the Demon Zapper is not a giant. She's a Dao.
Which is an earth... Well, she's not a giant form. She's an earth elemental that is a giant species, is what I mean.
More closer to a genie than a giant.
Yeah. Again, Felix doesn't recognize the difference. As far as he's concerned, giants are also an elemental species like the genie.
Fair enough.
And we in fact know that this one is an elemental species. He's mentioned it. I think he's fire. Well, I know one. I'm pretty sure one of them. I don't know which was which. You say she's Dao, so she's Earth, right?
Yep.
So then, yeah, he was fire. Mortal species are made of dirt and water, earth and water. Clay and water. Divine species are made from smoke and fire, or air and fire, from an elemental perspective. So in Felix's head, these two are simultaneously different and compatible because they are fire and earth. They are a little bit of each side. So, but yeah, so either way, I basically don't catch the fact that somebody is waving and that Gilwyn says somebody is waving. So Fick and Druzzl, this particular part is on you guys.
Well, we'll try not to disappoint.
Dog is barking.
Mine.
No,
I don't know if it's dog.
Yeah, it's coming through Jaime's.
I know
Yeah,
it
it's
comes from Jaime's, but
coming from my house, but I don't know if it's Zeus or. Because there's a couple of dogs that bark around the neighborhood.
Gotcha. I can tell you on this side, it's pretty loud.
and it's pretty
Sorry.
consistent.
It almost sounds like an alarm.
One moment. I'm checking to see if I can see someone outside. Well, one of my roommates, I believe, is in their car, or just came back, or is getting ready to leave.
I also need a favor
And
from
they
you,
stopped.
Jaime. So your roommates are Oreo and Eclipse.
Okay, they
correct? Or
didn't.
do you have... your roommates are Oreo and Eclipse, right? Or do you have other roommates?
Okay, I had my headset off, so I didn't hear what you were saying.
I said your roommates are Oreo and Eclipse, right? Not, or do you have other roommates?
We have other roommates now.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was about to be like, stop calling your fellas roommates.
And they were roommates!
I was just checking. You can let them know I got defensive for them. No, Eclipse and I had to have this conversation. And I don't know about anybody else in the party, didn't know your guys' situation because it had never been confirmed to me. And so I then had to say, well, welcome to the family to Eclipse, even though he's been part of the family for, years at this point.
Sorry, I'm terrible at sharing those kind of things.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was like, are you calling them roommates right now? Seriously? That's it. That was some shit given. Y'all can roll forward.
Okay. Anyway,
So- yeah.
so you're talking about how you're going to progress, and basically cure the curses on everyone. And there is a hitchhiker in the middle of the wasteland in hell.
Druzzl or Pick, are either one of you going to respond to Gilwyn pointing out the hitchhiker?
Other than pointing it out to the group, no.
Gilwyn's the one that pointed it out to the group. He's now asking, like, guys, there's a hitchhiker. So you're just going to let it be pointed out and not say anything?
If he doesn't have a towel, he doesn't get a ride.
Fair enough.
You guys don't even want to see who it is first?
No, we'll see who it is.
If what?
If he doesn't have a towel, he doesn't get a ride.
A towel?
It's the most important thing in the universe. Every traveler should have one.
That and a bagel fish.
And possibly a little book with giant friendly letters on the cover that says "Don't panic."
And an asterisk in ASCII.
Still none of this getting to you, DM? It's
Um,
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, I never read the books, but I got the references as soon as you said "don't panic."
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's why he was saying if he doesn't have a towel, he doesn't get a ride.
Is that a line from the book?
Yes.
Basically, yeah. Well, it's just saying that in the book, the guide explains, and it's a regular thing that if you need a towel is the most useful thing in existence.
And a babel fish is a fish you put in your ear to understand your language.
Yeah, it becomes a universal translator. But anyway, so they're gonna see who's waving them down.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me perception.
Me or for everybody?
Everyone who's trying to see who it is. If you don't care, you don't roll.
I'll roll.
Ah,
Okay.
Bro, you rolled as low as you could roll on perception without auto failing and still got a 16.
yep.
Perception.
Gilwin, he rolled a natural 2 and got a 16.
That's correct, sir.
I'm still grabbing your dice, Fick.
Imagine what's gonna happen when we level.
Good lord.
To mine.
Good lord. Well, you're just taking observant, aren't you?
I already have observant. I'm taking skill expert specifically for perception.
Nice. Yeah, he has expertise in perception.
Nice.
You guys will be able to see everything.
Will they be able to see why kids love Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
The cinnamon swirls on every bite. I suppose they may be the only ones. The question is, can they get their insight high enough to know why tricks are for kids? Because that's the real question.
Because they're great.
I did really. I wasn't prepared for a Tony the Tiger at the end of that.
Nobody expects Tony the Tiger.
Nobody.
Expects the Spanish Inquisition.
No, I got nobody expects Big Rico's pizza. Nobody.
Okay. Either way, Druzzl and Gilwin, you both see, or you both see a human. He is wearing, or he looks like he is wearing leather armor. And he is soaking wet.
As it looks like he just crawled out of the river.
As in, he looks like he just crawled out of the river.
Are we currently
Like-
near the river?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he said. As we were
Okay.
getting close to the river, we saw this guy walking and waving.
On his head, he has a big purple tattoo. Covers about half of his head.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Sorry, I'm going to turn my mic off while I continue my panic attack, since my character didn't see any of this.
And he just has this biggest smile as he's trying to wave you down. Druzzl, you actually notice that he has, or that there's some, you actually notice something else. There appears to be a little fuzzy lump on his right shoulder.
The mic back on so that I could say, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Let's see. Other than that, he does look like he is armed, but he does not have any of his weapons out. He has a great sword. Let's see. A great sword and a heavy crossbow. What do you do?
Does he look like he's? I know he doesn't have his weapons out, but does he look like he may? I mean, we're in this big ass truck, like.
And he was grinning from ear to ear and soaking wet from the river Styx, which you guys have already been informed. Don't touch the water of the river Styx; it will take your memory away.
Well, do we want to help him?
Yes.
Okay. So you pull up, or you start slowing down and you pull up right next to him. And you see that the fuzzy lump that was on his right shoulder looks like a hamster. And the hamster is also soaked.
At this point, they would probably hear like a pounding from the top of the vehicle, because I'd imagine that's where I'm sitting, because I always said I'm riding up on the top sort of platform, area. So they'd get a pounding and hear me yelling, "Why are we stopping?"
This guy looks like he needs help.
What guy? And I'm just gonna like come down below and look out the window.
Hello.
How was your swim?
Cold. And the water's disgusting. Don't drink it.
I would like to. I imagine my character's from the Forgotten Realms. We're all from the Forgotten Realms. So my character's from the Forgotten Realms. I imagine it's very possible that in the ancient legends, a lot of us may have heard of this character, but especially a couple of bards, me and Fick. Can I make a history check to be like, that guy kind of looks familiar to me, and then make a roll?
Sure.
I'm going to do it obviously with history, but is there anything I could do? I would like to bardic inspire Fick and ask him to bardic inspire me.
I'll allow it.
Because we're going to sit here and talk about, like, wait a minute, what's going on? I don't know how big his inspiration dice is.
It should be a D8.
Mine's a D6, I'm pretty sure. It becomes a D8 at 5th Bard level. So if he's got 5 levels of Bard, it'll be a D8. Otherwise, mine's a D6. So I get a plus D8 to my roll.
Do you?
If you give me inspiration.
No, am I that high enough level?
Oh, I don't know. Does Fick have 5 levels of Bard?
Yes.
Then yes. And you get a D6 added to yours.
Awesome.
I ain't heard of shit. I ain't heard of shit.
That's Spaceballs, except for it's slightly different.
We ain't found shit.
Yep.
Bro, you only got a 7. Can you do anything to? Well, you could roll obviously the D6, but do you have any other options for buffing that or re-rolling it?
I don't think so.
So you got a 10 and I got a 9.
Neither of you are familiar with the Traveler.
There's something real familiar about this guy. Is that a hamster on his shoulder? I'm asking Gilwin. I'm saying I can't really see.
What? I think so.
Seems friendly enough. We got a little space up here. Probably not much room for more than them. If If we pick him up, we're probably not gonna be able to pick anybody else up. Lean my head out the window. How's it going? You alright?
Yeah, I seem to be, at least. I'd probably be better if I knew who I was. I don't suppose any of y'all recognize me.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you that there's something familiar about you. I'll be honest. But I'm gonna go with no.
Well, that makes me feel good.
Will you say you don't know who you are?
No, can't say I do.
What about that little guy on your shoulder?
He turns, or the traveler turns to the hamster, and the hamster squeaks and said, "Oh, he says that he doesn't know either."
Oh goodness. Oh goodness.
Wait, you speak hamster?
I'm gonna send the GM a whisper real quick.
Apparently, I can speak hamster.
Sending this whisper because I wasn't sure if you knew this, and I only discovered it because of a recent video game I was playing.
That I did not know.
Yeah, basically after his 100 years as a statue, when he woke up with memory loss that time, the only one of them that had their memory was the hamster.
Oh.
And yeah, and so that changed their whole dynamic. So, but I don't, in the timeline, that technically is basically within this sort of, whenever he's discharged from Avernus, he'll then go spend 100 years in stone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's not to say that the hamster wasn't like that before, only that it was never openly public knowledge. Or at least public, not public knowledge, but lore knowledge.
Oh, okay.
So nobody can say for sure. That's totally up to the GM if it was always like that or not.
Fair enough, I'll keep that in mind.
So. And I go, so you guys asked him, you can speak hamster? I go, that's a neat trick, but so can he. And I point to the driver of the car. Can you cast speak animals?
I don't have it prepared.
but you can normally prepare it and cast it, correct?
Yes.
So that I didn't tell a lie, you could speak hamster.
Yes.
And I go, do you happen to know where you guys were heading?
No.
And what are your opinions on good and evil?
Oh, evil sucks.
I look back at the guys and go, yeah, I think we can give him a ride.
Owen shrugs.
Or I could send him home. It's up to you guys. Yeah, why don't you climb on board?
Nice.
And do us a favor. Get naked first.
I stick my head up and look at you like, we having fun time?
He swam in the river Styx. His memories were erased and the water's all over him. I'm going to dry his clothes before they get anywhere near us.
Fair enough.
I mean, he's already taking his clothes before you even explain why.
But at the same time, he would hear me explain why the river, that the river Styx takes memories.
Is that where it was?
Yeah, you may not know this, but you're in Avernus. And if you don't know what Avernus is, my friend, you are in hell.
Ah.
Since evil sucks, you're kind of in either the worst place you ever could possibly imagine, or exactly where you want to be, depending on how aggressive you are.
This is true.
I'm thinking Avernus sounds fun?
Yeah, we're gonna get along fine. Drop the ladder. I'm coming down it as I'm inviting him up, and I again use my ability to create flames or whatever, or even create gusts of wind, and I try his clothes. I could control water. I could shape water. I just pull the water off of him and the clothing. As he strips it off, I go, "Oh, I guess I could have just done this," and whoop, a ball of liquid in the air.
Well, that's a neat trick.
And I go, "Yeah, but don't touch."
Touchy.
So how long
I
does
go-
this memory majigger thing last?
I actually don't have an answer to that. I've never experienced it, but I can think about it for a while and get back to you.
Okay. What's your name?
I go, "They call me Felix. Up in a vehicle, you got a pile of people to say hi to."
Okay. Can I have my clothes first?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sorry, I didn't even mean to tell you to take them off, but good looking out, buddy. Damn, do you work out?
I think so. I don't remember.
I mean, he
Well,
swings
I
that
did-
greatsword around enough.
And I go, "I wasn't worried about the greatsword swinging. I was literally just about to make a joke about making sure he puts that mace somewhere safe." As for the water, I literally wait for him to get up on the vehicle out of earshot. I don't want anybody in earshot of me for this small, out loud, quiet statement that I make, which is, I really shouldn't have lied to the Chimera. I told him, I really shouldn't have lied to the Chimera is what I say. The book would probably understand what I mean by that. Tiamat had 3 things she requested. I said that we've done 2 of them. What I said was letting her walk Avernus and waking her up was 2 of them. Yeah, kinda. Waking her up is one of them. Letting her walk Avernus is a whole nother part of a whole nother thing. The second one is actually Tiamat only wanted one divine power that she never got access to. And that was the ability to move the waters of the river Styx. So here I am holding the ball of the river Styx and doing it with power that, as far as my character is concerned, he's like praying to Tiamat as he's doing it. And so Tiamat's power is moving the water, and he's just kind of chuckling about it. And he just sort of drops it onto the ground. This bubble just sort of pops into the dust, and he starts climbing into the vehicle, back up the ladder.
Okay. So you have the Traveler, and the Traveler gets into the vehicle, looks at all of you, and says, "Hi!"
When you said that, kind of distorted a little bit. You sounded like Eddie, the shipboard computer from Hitchhikers.
Wow. Guys, I really hate to tell you this, but we might be crashing. So yeah, he climbs into the vehicle, he says hi. What do you guys say?
Welcome to hell.
Well, thank you.
Where do you think you want to go?
I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. I hope.
Yeah, where does your hamster want to go?
What's your? Oh, you don't know your name.
He turns to the hamster. Somewhere with food, apparently. I don't suppose you have any seeds.
Any seeds?
I have some. Wait. Before I open my big mouth.
You have a component pouch and you're a druid. You have seeds.
I guess that's true. I also have some berries.
That could work.
Then I would cast Goodberry and hand some over.
Okay. Evie's the hamster.
Do you just hand him like all 10 good berries going? Are you there?
We're going
Gillen?
to yeah. I'd say I'd give him half. Like,
You just hand him 5 berries.
yeah.
It's very much probably the Hobbit scene when they're like, a single bite is enough to feed a grown man, and they're like, oh, and then he walks away. How many did you eat? 3. Out of game, I could see the hamster eating all 5 and still being hungry. Out of game, am I the only one who knows who this is?
Yes. Or at least
Yes.
I don't.
No, I know. As soon as you said hamster.
This is our second, our third. I sent this message. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our 5th legendary character we've met.
Who is it?
Minsk and Boo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know those were real people. I thought they were just made up for the Baldur's Gate.
Minsk and Boo are members of the 8. Well, Minsk is a member of the 8. So the 8 are effectively what D&D was written around. Like, the game itself was, for lack of a better term, invented to tell the story of the 8, which includes Elminster, Mordenkainen, Minsk, what's her name, Jaheira. There's, like, I can't remember all of their names, but they're all legendary characters that were played by the game's designers.
Feel stupid now because the monster compendium in the Spelljammer set is Boo's Astral Menagerie, and it's got Minsk and Boo on the cover of it, riding a solar dragon or a lunar dragon.
So in game, we just met a legendary character that doesn't remember who he is, and we can't tell him who he is because we don't know.
No.
We're walking around with a level 20 character that probably has level 20 hit points, but is only a level 1 character as far as abilities because he doesn't remember all of his other ones. So that's great.
Isn't it?
I do find myself staring at a beefy warrior guy, and then looking over at Denal, and then back at the beefy warrior guy, and then back over at Denal. But I don't say a thing. And I sort of look up after a moment and go, well, since you don't know where you're going, you're more than welcome to stick with us till you find something better. I only ask one thing, and that's that you pay your way. No, you carry your weight.
Oh, I could carry lots of things.
I give him the head to toe look and go, honey, I don't doubt it. I simply mean we aim to make trouble in a place of darkness and maybe shine a little light. So long as you're on board with that, we'll do just fine.
And he gives you a thumbs up. Okay.
You missed another chance for a Firefly quote. We aim to misbehave.
I knew what I was saying when I said it. I didn't want to say misbehave because it's Minsk. He might be like, wait, you're misbehaving? Well, you guys are bad guys, and pull out his sword.
Fair enough.
So yeah, cool. We have another companion, and we drive on.
All right. So this mysterious traveler that isn't really all that mysterious anymore.
In game, he's successfully mysterious to all of us.
Who could this traveler be? I wonder. But plans are set. Fetch quests are going to be cashed in. But to what end? I guess we'll find out next time on Dungeons and Dragons.
That is a good spot.